going on, everybody? It's Samuel Akem here, and I'm back with another one. I appreciate you guys for tapping into yet another Akem'S analysis. It was a great week 0. I cannot wait to get into breaking it down for you guys. But every Big Sky team has a heart, and so do we. L&M Fine Jewelry is Montana-owned, family-run, and proud to support the same communities that pack the stadium every Saturday. When you're ready to celebrate life's big moments, trust the jeweler with hometown roots and high-end style. Located on American Way in Missoula and Main Street in Kalispell. L&M Fine Jewelry, they're the official jeweler of Akem'S analysis, and you guys all need to go check them out. They took care of me and my wife extremely well when we were going through our process during our engagement, getting our engagement rings, getting my wife's wedding band, getting my wedding band. You guys need to go check them out. Let them pick that ring for you and that special person. They do a great job. That's it for that. But week 0, UC Davis versus Mercer. We had UNLV versus Idaho State, which was a better game than expected. We had Incarnate Word versus Nicholls State, which was also a surpriser. And then we had Portland State at Tarleton State. Not very surprising there. On their home turf as well. They did not look great at all. The quarterback position is a big question mark for them. Without Dante Sachere, they looked out of sorts. The UC Davis Mercer game ended in a no contest. We're going to get into that game first. Very exciting game there. Very exciting game there. We'll talk about it all. We got some other topics on the back end of things, but really, this is a recap of week 0, so I want to really get into the week 0 games. Make sure you guys hit the like. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys leave me a comment down below, and we will get straight into it. Okay, first things first, we are talking about UC Davis versus Mercer, and it was a great game. Started out at halftime, it was 21-3. UC Davis was up. Caden Pennick was looking like the top quarterback in the country. Maybe not in the country. He was looking like one of the top quarterbacks in the Big Sky Conference for sure. We saw another quarterback earlier in the day that looked good as well. We'll get into him a little bit later. But Caden Pennick, UC Davis, Tim Plow, the Aggies, started off very strong against Mercer. But as you know, especially with the top teams that are coached well, that have good schematics, and they know what they're doing, they make adjustments, man. So UC Davis came out very hot, was leading 21-3 at half. Defense looked to be firing on all cylinders. Mercer had absolutely no idea what to do with Caden Pennick. And you can see things like that happen in a week 0 game, especially when you got a redshirt freshman. We have no idea what any of these players look like. And that's kind of the thing I got into the last couple of weeks before the season started was, man, what are we doing talking about these teams? Like, let's just see the games. Let's see these guys in action, and that will tell us the whole story. It was kind of a tale of two halves for Pennick. I know I actually didn't add this to my, I posted this online, and I'll go find it right now. But UC Davis's second half drives were staggering, man. They were staggering. So UC Davis started, and this is the problem we have with the UC Davis game ending in a no contest also, is none of those stats or anything from that game counts at all. So there's no stats. None of the numbers are going to matter. The record is 0-0 for both of those teams. None of the teams got a win or got a loss. So it's like, man, I just wish they would have found a way to actually finish that game somehow. I know you don't want to keep the guys up till 2 a.m. They got flights to get to and all that stuff. Well, I'm sure Mercer probably didn't fly. 3 hours, right? Right? They might have flew, though. But on the other side of things, like UC Davis, they got to fly, they got all this thing, but man, I would have loved to see this game finish 23-7. What was it? 23-17. Let me go over my notes. It was 21-3. It was 23-17 when they ended the game with 7:46 remaining in the fourth quarter, and I believe Mercer had the ball when they called the game a no contest. This was a phenomenal game to watch. Caden Pennick is the real deal. Carter Vargas and Jordan Fisher looked great at the running back position. Vargas seems to have an ability to catch out of the backfield that adds a layer of Lan Larison-esque to that offense. And then Jordan Fisher, he looks like the number one guy. I'm sure, they were kind of filling things out yesterday, but he looks like the number one guy. To finish my point I was making earlier is you don't know what these guys look like. And that's what you saw against Caden Pennick. This guy is a fast quarterback and has an amazing ability in the pocket to evade rushers and also has a really good ability to run the ball. When you think about what Miles Hastings brought to this offense, Tim Plow is going to draw it up. The offensive staff at UC Davis is going to draw it up, and they're going to have plays that are able to get yardage. But one thing that I think Miles Hastings was missing last year is his ability to create with his legs. Pennick has that 100%. Frank Gogola of 406 Montana posted a stat yesterday, and it was actually talking about, it said in 48 games at UC Davis, Miles Hastings had like a negative 248 rushing yards or something like that. So just illustrating, I know negative 248 sounds drastic, but it just kind of illustrates the fact that he wasn't really a mobile guy. He was a pocket passer, and he was going to dial it up from the pocket. But in terms of making things happen outside of the pocket, that was not him. Caden Pennick is that guy. Now, in terms of making throws, we saw Caden Pennick make some throws yesterday, but really where he really wowed me was with his legs. Now, that was the first half. Caden Pennick looked like the quarterback that you wanted. From UC Davis fan standpoint, Caden Pennick looked exactly how you wanted him to look in the first half. The second half, when Mercer made their adjustments and came out in that second half, he didn't look as good. And the second half drives for UC Davis are as follows. Interception, field goal attempt, missed, punt, field goal attempt, blocked. In the second half, they had 5 drives, 87 total yards, up until the point to where they called the game. At the time, they had delayed the game, and then they eventually canceled it, called it a no contest, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, it was completely 2 halves, and I think you don't want to be overreactionary. I don't even know if that's a word, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like, you don't want to overreact to that because he is a redshirt freshman. So although he looked really good in the first half, you expect him to show freshman tendencies. The interception was a little bit freshman-esque. I believe it was like an overthrow. I think he was trying to throw a post. It's so hard because you can't watch the highlights back. They don't have the highlights online. You can't look at the stats. So it's like you don't have any. It was really no contest. So it's like maybe they don't want the stats to exist, but like, can we at least see the numbers to see what they were doing before the game ended? Because it was a 23-7 game. Anyway, Mercer was on their way. And, UC Davis didn't seem like they had an answer at the time, Now, Mercer did go for a 4th down. I think they went for it on a fake punt on 4th down and did not get it, but they ended up getting a stop. But, man, Mercer was looking good. Now, it's going to be so difficult. Also, another thing that's interesting about week 1 is, like, you have games that you can analyze now. So we've seen them, and we know what they look like. We know what their players look like. I think their offensive line looks as advertised. The UC Davis offensive line looks as advertised. The Mercer defense definitely answered the bell in the second half. UC Davis's defense looked up and down to me, man, because like at times you see Rex Connor, Porter Connors flying around, flipping guys over, like making really, really good plays. But then at times you see them missing tackles, and it's like it's weird. Also, there was a missed targeting call on UC Davis. Porter Connors hit somebody on the sidelines, and it was like letter of the law targeting. Launched at the head, defenseless receiver, helmet-to-helmet contact. I mean, it was all the indicators that they're always talking about on the TV when you're watching a game. They're like, oh, they're looking for 2 out of 3 indicators. He hit every indicator. It wasn't even reviewed. There wasn't even a flag thrown. Nobody even batted an eye, and they just went on with the next play. But everybody online was saying that was targeting. And me, with the people I was watching the game with as well, that was targeting. That was 100% targeting. No question about it. And they didn't review it. That doesn't matter. I don't know. I think UC Davis looks good. The running back position looks good to me. Their linemen look good. The tight ends didn't really get super involved in the offense, but they look like they got a Winston Williams, Ian Simpson, and then they got another tight end, number 11. But they got some good players back there. The receiver position looked good. They had a young receiver, and I can't even go back and find. He was number 7. But they had a young receiver that looked really, really good, man. And I'm actually going to go try to find their roster right now because I know he was a number 7. Stacy Dobbins. I think he's a freshman, sophomore. He's a sophomore this year. Stacy Dobbins looked really good, man. Him, Samuel Batu. They didn't really get Samuel Batu super involved in the offense, but I thought Batu looked good as well. The defense for UC Davis, I don't think got super tested yesterday. The run defense was kind of getting gashed a little bit in the second half. I mean, Mercer was finding the ability to get things done in the second half, and that's what you want from a good football game. I know I was so happy to see that game get close. I was so happy to see that game get interesting because I know that just, it's so hard. It's so hard. And you don't want to see a blowout. Also, these are two highly ranked teams. We saw another ranked team not look so ranked earlier in the day. I was very happy to see, UC Davis duke it out with Mercer. And I don't know. Obviously, this is going to be judged as a no contest. UC Davis did have the lead, but I don't know. They just didn't really look to have it in the second half. But I think good takeaways, positive takeaways from this game. Jordan Fisher, Carter Vargas look really good. The UC Davis offensive line, for the most part, looks pretty decent. I think they got some things to clean up. Obviously, it was the first game, but I think UC Davis offensive line looks as advertised. Their running back position is good. Rex Connors and Porter Connors are who they say they are for sure. But the biggest thing is, like, as a fan and as anybody who watches the sport, your team's not going to be anything without a quarterback. And to see the flashes that Caden Pennick showed, it's no surprise why Tim Plow was so high on him. It's no surprise why he's starting. Redshirt freshman, multiple sport athlete, mind you. You have to show that you can be the guy and can carry the team to be able to play and start as a freshman. And obviously, Caden Pennick has showed that to Tim Plow. He mentioned it earlier earlier in training camp that Caden Pennick, if they started games today, at that time he would have been the starter. They started games yesterday. He was the starter. So it's exciting to see what he was able to bring to the table. But also, I don't know. We don't know. When you don't get a full sample size to see somebody in terms of a game, you just don't know. But you know what they looked like in the first half. So I think one of the adjustments Mercer really started to make on Pennick was, I don't know if they started spying him or they started having the tight ends they started to hold the edge a little bit better, but Pennick was not able to use his legs as much in the second half. They were really getting pressure on him, and I don't get to watch the game back. I'm going to try to get some all 22, but I don't know if I'll be able to watch this game back. But they definitely were causing him havoc in the pocket, and that is what made him really look uncomfortable in the second half. He looked extremely uncomfortable in the pocket, wasn't able to scramble around like he was in the first half. You can really tell that Mercer defense was like, the defensive staff was like, hey, this guy is hurting us. This is our number one problem right now. He's not going to beat us. Make him stand in the pocket. Make him beat us with his arm. He's not going to beat us with his legs. That was my assessment from watching the game. And then when they made him beat him with his arm, he threw an interception. Missed field goal. They weren't able to finish drives. Punt. Another blocked field goal. Mercer, one, is a good, formidable opponent, so you got to expect that they're going to adjust in the second half. They're not just going to roll over. But also, on the other hand of things, UC Davis is young. So it was a tale of two halves. I think UC Davis looks good. I think Mercer looks good as well. But we won't know until we know. So we'll have to wait and see to see these teams in week one and see what they do. And it's like, you got week 0, and you get to see these teams, but then, like, you don't know if it was just an anomaly. Is it like, oh, this team was just playing out of their mind because it's week 0? Is this team just playing out of their mind because it's the first game of the season? Or is this team really like that? So you really need one or two healthy sample sizes of games to be able to really judge and assess what they're going to do. But you guys let me know. What do you guys think UC Davis was able to do successfully in week 0? What do you guys think they didn't do so well in the second half? How do you guys think that game would have turned out? You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I will move on. Okay, I want to get into Idaho State versus UNLV. Obviously, because we're Skyline Sports, we cover the Big Sky Conference. Idaho State looked very, very good, man. And I want to... Watching Jordan Cooke, the starting quarterback for Idaho State, is a freaking experience, man. I'm calling it the Jordan Cooke experience because, like, this dude, I can't say enough words about him. 60% completion percentage. He was 30 for 50, 380 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Dason Brooks, 18 carries, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns on 7.3 yards a carry. Ian Duarte had 6 for 105. Michael Shulikov had 3 for 72. Damian Morgan had 7 for 59. Idaho State looked good, man. But the reason I say it's the Jordan Cooke experience is because 75% of the time with Jordan Cooke, you're like, oh my gosh, what is that throw? Like, in a good way. What is that throw? Oh my gosh, that arm angle on that throw. Wow, how was he able to place that where he wanted it to? I mean, oh my goodness, Jordan Cooke, you're so good. But then 25% of the time on the other end of things, you're like, why? What are you doing? What is that? And it's like, it's so contrasting watching him, because like he does something really good on this side of things, but then on the other side of things, it's so confusing watching him, because on one end of things, it's like, yes, that is what we want. And most of the time, you're like, yes, it's so good. I mean, he had 380, almost 400 passing yards, 20 yards away from 400 passing yards, but the 3 interceptions. And if you watch the game, the interceptions are of the ugly kind, where it's like an overthrown pass where he overshoots somebody, or it seems like he thinks somebody's going to be open, and, you know, he just doesn't see that hook defender, or he doesn't see the curl flat defender sitting there when his guy's about to move into the zone. Curl flat defender swipes it away. I mean, and then one of them was on an under where it seems like the linebacker just jumped in. Linebacker or safety jumped. I mean, just two sides of the spectrum when you're watching Jordan Cooke. Idaho State looks good. Now, obviously, every team is able to get up and get ready to play an FBS opponent, especially a Mountain West opponent. I mean, we just saw Idaho beat Wyoming last year. Idaho went toe-to-toe with Oregon last year. Montana State beat New Mexico last year. Sac State beat Stanford a couple of years ago. I mean, when you're going against a Mountain West team, it's like they aren't very far off from the Big Sky Conference. And I do not say that out of disrespect to the Mountain West, but they are not very far off from the Big Sky Conference. So, I mean, when you go against a Mountain West opponent, it's like, hey, we want to see if we are able to sit at the table with you guys. Cody Hawkins, I think, did a magnificent job coaching this team up. They went early on an early 10-0 lead, and then all of a sudden, UNLV battled back, and they were able to make it a little bit more of a game. They were able to make it completely a game. Idaho State, I believe, they didn't have the lead at halftime. Idaho State, oh, they did. Where's halftime at? I think halftime's right here. Yeah, Idaho State had a 10-point lead at half. So, you know, they were feeling good about themselves at halftime. But, no, they didn't have a lead at half. I don't know why it's showing that. They did have a lead at half, but it was only a 17-14 lead at half. This drive is showing above the third quarter where they had 20. Anyway, Idaho was up 17-14. They were feeling good. UNLV was able to battle back and make it a game. And really what the difference was in this game for Idaho State was the turnovers. I mean, you cannot turn the ball over. You cannot give good teams, decent teams. You cannot give more talented teams more opportunities to beat you. I mean, when you look at the side of UNLV, no interceptions. Did they have any fumbles? I think they did have a fumble. Yeah, they had one lost fumble. But if you look at Idaho State, they had one fumble, but it was recovered. But they had 4 interceptions. And they brought in Jackson Sharman. I'm not sure who he is, but when you got Jordan Cooke turning over the ball 3 times, you don't need to bring another quarterback in to turn over the ball. Now, I was watching the TV copy of the Idaho State UNLV game, and they brought Jackson Sharman in, and he was 0 for 1 on completions to attempts, and he threw an interception, and it was in the red zone, and I don't know why he was in there. I don't know if Jordan Cooke got injured. I don't know if it was a specific play that they needed Jackson Sharman in for. I don't know. But he came in and turned the ball over. So 4 interceptions for Idaho State. That is not going to win you a game. You cannot give good teams more possessions more possessions. You can't give them more possessions. That just gives them a better opportunity to beat you. Idaho State did exactly that. And what did UNLV do? They beat them. But Jordan Cooke it's hard for me not to say Jordan Cooke is one of the top 3 to 4 quarterbacks in the Big Sky Conference. I mean, you got Ty Pennington. He's a good quarterback, not a great quarterback, but he's a good, serviceable quarterback. Caden Pennick is a name to watch now in the conference. But Jordan Cooke, man, like the throws that he makes, the ability that he has to be able to put the ball where he wants it. I mean, it's unlike anybody in the Big Sky Conference. There is no quarterback like Jordan Cooke in the Big Sky Conference. Now, we haven't seen all the teams play, and maybe I should reserve my judgment for when we see all the teams play. But in my opinion, there's not a quarterback like Jordan Cooke who can throw the ball like Jordan Cooke in the Big Sky Conference. I mean, if Jordan Cooke was able to clean up his turnovers, was able to clean up some of his rookie mistakes, I mean, Jordan Cooke might be an NFL guy. And I genuinely mean that. He is able to put the ball where he wants it to be. He's able to throw at different arm angles. Now, How mobile is he as a quarterback? I think he's mobile enough in the modern time of college football and professional football. I think Jordan Cooke would be mobile enough to be able to make things happen. But man, his arm is stupid, man. His arm is so good. He is very good at throwing. He's very good quarterback. Dason Brooks, 18 carries, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked really good as well. Idaho State has never struggled offensively. They've never been a problem offensively. Where Idaho State has struggled, as you saw yesterday, was on the defensive side of things. And honestly, at times they looked good, but for a majority of the time, they weren't able to string together stops. The both quarterbacks for UNLV completely tore up Idaho State's defense. After Anthony Calandria, 15 for 21, 195 yards, 1 touchdown. And then you had Alex Orji, who was 3 for 3, 37 yards. Jaden Thomas, actually, 10 for 147, 3 touchdowns. Phenomenal game from him. Jaden Bradley, the receiver, 6 receptions, 131 yards, and a touchdown. Orji, he ran the ball as well. Oh, yeah, he had 6 carries for 34 yards. And then Anthony Calandria had 13 carries, 93 yards. I mean, goodness, 93 rushing yards, 195 passing yards, and a passing touchdown, no turnovers. I mean, UNLV played a clean game offensively. They didn't play a great game offensively, but they played a clean game. I mean, they only had 6 incompletions, 232 passing yards, 1 touchdown. They had 307 rushing yards, and that is the difference in the game right there, man. You cannot give up 300 rushing yards on a good FBS opponent. You can't let them gash you on the ground. You absolutely cannot have it. And then on the other side of things, Idaho State only had 160 yards rushing. Jordan Cooke, negative 12 yards rushing. That's probably out of sacks. But I mean, you go to the team stats page, and first downs, Idaho State had 30, UNLV had 25. Third down efficiency, Idaho State was 5 for 13, UNLV was 3 for 12. So pretty decent for Idaho State's defense. Fourth down efficiency, Idaho State was 1 of 3. UNLV was 1 of 1. Total yards, 555. UNLV had 539. Passing, Idaho State had 395. UNLV had 232. So, I mean, Idaho State has never, ever seen a pass that they didn't like. Idaho State has never seen an offensive play that they didn't like. I will never get on here and tell you. It'll probably be a cold day in hell that I get on here and tell you that, man, Idaho State's offense, they just don't have any weapons. They're just not able to move the ball. I mean, that's not really a problem I've ever really seen. Now, obviously, when they play better, good, formidable competition who have good defenses, you see any good offense struggle. But for the most part, Idaho State is going to have some weapons. Idaho State is going to be able to move the ball. Where Idaho State falls into the hole is they can't get a stop. They can't stop the run. Their pass defense isn't elite. I mean, it just things on the defensive side that stand out to you that don't lead to winning. Penalties, they had 10 penalties, 80 yards, but UNLV had 8 penalties for 90 yards. Want to clean that up. It's the first game. I mean, I think Idaho State looks good. I think Idaho State looks like a formidable Big Sky opponent. I think they may be a problem for some of the top teams, projected top teams in the Big Sky Conference, like the Montanas, the Montana States, UC Davises. Now, they don't play everybody, but I think Idaho State could potentially be looking at a team that may be able to make the playoffs. But I really, really need Jordan Cooke to clean up the interceptions, man. I'm very impressed with what Jordan Cooke brought to the table. And mind you, Jordan Cooke has been at Idaho State. He redshirted last year for some odd reason. I don't know why they would redshirt him, but they redshirted him last year. And in 2023, I think when he was a freshman, he was a young guy in 2023, but he looked really, really good. He's a junior now. He might be a redshirt junior. I don't know exactly what year he is, but in 2023, Jordan Cooke looked really good. And I remember seeing him when they played Montana. And I was like, yo, that quarterback, I mean, the arm angles, I mean, his ability to put the ball downfield. I mean, he looked really good, but he looked raw, man. And he still looks a little raw. You can tell the year off. He definitely had a year off. The 3 interceptions, but 380 passing yards. Now, obviously, that's a nature of throwing 50 passes, playing in this Idaho State offense. Like, you're going to throw the ball a lot. But, I mean, it's one thing to be in the offense and have the ability to do it. It's another thing to actually do it. 380 passing yards. Got to clean up the interceptions. You guys let me know what you guys thought about Idaho State. I thought they looked good. I thought their offensive line looked like they're able to do some things. They need to clean up the defensive end. And Jordan Cooke needs to make better decisions. Jordan Cooke needs to make better decisions for this team to be really good. Now, are we looking at a contender? Absolutely not. That is not a contending defense. They can't get stops consistently. I mean, in this first game, maybe they'll clean it up, and they were playing an FBS opponent, but you got to be able to string together stops consistently and hold teams to. You got to have you got to be averaging 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 points around there to be one of the top defenses in the FCS. And Idaho State just isn't there right now. But could they be a top Big Sky opponent? Most definitely. Could they threaten a lot of the top teams in the Big Sky? Most definitely. You guys let me know what you think about Idaho State, what you thought about Idaho State versus UNLV down below, and I will move on. Okay, I'm now going to talk about the Incarnate Word versus Nicholls State game, and my goodness, man, a lot of people are saying this is why preseason polls don't matter. This is why talk before the season doesn't matter. Nicholls State goes into, I don't remember if it was a home, I think it was actually a home game from Nicholls. Incarnate Word goes into Nicholls State and drops the first game of the season 20-6 to Nicholls, and Nicholls defense was flying around. This is per Zach McKinnell. Nicholls defense versus Incarnate Word. 204 total yards, 3 yards per play. 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions. They muffed the punt. 1 defensive touchdown, and 16 rushing yards allowed. Now, obviously, sack stats are in those numbers as well. There was like, they got sacked a lot, and that jaded the numbers a little bit. But, I mean, Incarnate Word did not look very strong, in my opinion, man. I did not think Incarnate Word looked very strong. Offensively, their quarterback struggled a ton. Richard Torres threw 3 interceptions, and then they lost a fumble. So, I mean, 4 turnovers. You're not going to win any game turning over the ball 4 times. It's just not going to happen. I mean, you may win a game. I don't want to say you're not going to win a game. But with that bad of a stat line, it is going to be very, very hard for your team to be successful. And Sam Herder tweeted something like this online after the game, and I echo the same sentiment. Obviously, a lot of these teams are dealing with new quarterbacks. You know what they do from a statistics standpoint. You know what they have from a like skill set standpoint. If you've seen these guys in practice, if you've seen them in the spring, you know what these guys bring to the table. But you will never know exactly who these guys are until they get on the field. And this is why quarterback play at the FCS level is so. This is why quarterback play at any level is important. But this is why quarterback play is important, because you had Zach Calzada last year, and you had a lot of the same weapons. I mean, you added weapons offensively. You have Chaden James now, and you had Jalen Walthall as a receiver. I can't remember. I don't know exactly what the running back position looked like last year. I don't know what I mean, but Incarnate Word was a very good football team last year, a seeded football team in the playoffs, a top 10 football team throughout the season. I mean, they were very, very good. And I think a lot of that was because they had Zach Calzada, who was able to run their offense, who knew where the ball needed to go. I mean, Richard Torres was hanging on the ball to a bit too long, throwing the ball up into double coverage. I mean, he did not look good, man. 23 for 35, 175 yards, 3 interceptions. You can't have it. But also, they couldn't move the ball on the ground at all. 31 carries, 37 rushing yards, 1.2 yards a carry. They had a long carry of 11 yards. I mean, come on. Now, obviously, Richard Torres had negative 45 rushing yards. That's due to sacks. I hate how they do that in college. I think they need to end that in college. Stop counting quarterback sacks as a statistic. Quarterback sacks is not a rushing statistic. I will die on that hill. Quarterback sacks are not a rushing statistic. Follow the NFL. Follow the NFL. You're trying to follow the pay structure of the NFL. You're trying to follow everything the NFL is doing. Follow the way they do statistics too. Quarterback sacks are not a rushing statistic. Don't count quarterback sacks towards the rushing numbers because it jades everything. They weren't good on the ground. They didn't run the ball well, but they didn't have 37 rushing yards. They had more than that. The net rushing yards is closer to 70, maybe 80. I think it's closer to, what do we got here? 49 plus 26 is 65. 65 plus 7. I'm doing math right in front of you guys. 72. Let me know if I'm right. 49 plus 26 plus 7. I don't even remember the number I said. But anyway, they had under 100 rushing yards, which is not good, but they didn't have 37 rushing yards. That's what gets me about the stack statistics. They got some receivers at Incarnate Word, man. I did not know Chaden James had went to Incarnate Word. I remember he went to Fresno State from Idaho State. He transferred from Fresno State after the season. He's now at Incarnate Word. That is a good receiving core. You got one of the top receivers in Jalen Walthall, and then you got Chaden James. Jalen Walthall, I mean, I don't know if they were keyed into I don't know if Nicholls was keyed into him, but I mean, he wasn't able to get off. He had one good reception across the middle, a long of 24 yards. That's the one I'm thinking of, where he caught the ball. It looked like it was like a glance route or a deep slant. Might have been an in. But they found him across the middle. That was like the only really good reception he had to me. I mean, it just seemed like he was very quiet. Everything he was catching was short, and they were really making a concerted effort to be on all the short stuff. Nicholls came into this game knowing what they wanted to do and did exactly what they needed to do, man. Like, they came out firing. I think they jumped out to a 10-0 lead early on in the game. At halftime, it was 13-3. And Incarnate Word just really never looked like they were. They did get in the red zone a few times, but one thing Incarnate Word struggled with is they were never able to finish drives. I mean, Nicholls' defense in this game played a phenomenal game, and I am going to break this game down, but the TV highlights, because I don't have all 22 of that game right now, but the TV highlights of that game do not do it justice. Nicholls was living in the backfield. They were all over Torres, and I don't even think they have sack statistics on here on ESPN. They don't, but man, like, Nicholls was all over the field, and they made life very, very hard for Richard Torres. But you cannot sleep on the fact that Zach Calzada had a lot to do with the success of the Incarnate Word offense, and I think it showed. I think you saw it yesterday. Now, Richard Torres was under an unbelievable amount of pressure throughout this game. I mean, Incarnate Word was Nicholls was all over Richard Torres throughout this game. Nicholls was able to get to the quarterback at will. I mean, they were creating havoc in the backfield. But, I mean, also the other pieces of Nicholls' defense, their coverage was good. Safeties, corners, playing sticky coverage. I mean, their linebackers being able to come up and stop the run. I mean, everything that Nicholls did defensively was good. Now, Incarnate Word was a top-ranked team. And I'm about to make a point here. I'm about to make a really important point right here. Incarnate Word was one of the top-ranked teams in the country per preseason polls, per coaches poll, per media polls, per every poll you saw. Incarnate Word was a top 10 team. I don't think Incarnate Word is a top 10 team. I don't even think Incarnate Word is a top 15 team right now. I might not even put them in the top 20 or 25 teams in the country. I also don't think Nicholls is a top 10, top 15 team right now. I mean, obviously it was week 1. Obviously it was the first game of the season. But I was not particularly impressed with anything. I mean, Nicholls, another thing to understand is this is a week 0 conference matchup. So these teams know each other very well. These coaches, for the most part, there are new coaching staff. There are new head coach for Incarnate, or is it Incarnate? No, Nicholls has a new head coach. So from that standpoint, like, yes, you got to understand that. But, like, this is a conference matchup. I don't know if these teams are rivals. I don't cover the Southland like that. But, like, it was a close, like, I don't necessarily think Nicholls is the team to beat. I think they have a good defense. If their defense can carry him, then that's a thing. And Nicholls might win the Southland. Nicholls might end up being a top team in the Southland. But when you're thinking about teams in the grand scheme of things, like, you want to see them look clean offensively. You want to see them look clean defensively. You want to see them look clean on special teams. I don't necessarily think that Nicholls looked that great. I don't necessarily think that Nicholls looked that great offensively. I mean, they made plays when they had to. They hit the post over the top for the touchdown that put them up 20, that gave them 20 points. They also hit, I can't remember what their first touchdown was on, but they made the plays when they needed to. But really where they shined at was defensively. But offensively, looking at this team, I don't think this offense has enough right now to be one of the top teams in the country, one of the top 10, top 15 teams in the country, just based off what I was seeing. I didn't really think their quarterback looked as clean as he should to be a top team. So in judging, and the reason I'm saying this is because Incarnate Word was a top 5 ranked team in a lot of polls. The coaches poll, they were number 4 in the AFCA coaches poll, they were 4. In the media poll, they were 5 or 6. One of those 5, 6, 7 top 5, 6, 7 teams. I mean, they were top 10 in the country. I don't think Incarnate Word looks that good, but Nicholls just beat them. So are you saying Nicholls should be ranked? Maybe Nicholls should be ranked in the top 20 to 25. Maybe they can sneak into that 15 to 20 mark. Like, yes, Nicholls should get some respect now for beating Incarnate Word, but I don't think neither of these teams look particularly great. And maybe that's an indictment on the Southland. Maybe that's an indictment on Nicholls. Maybe that's an indictment on Incarnate Word. I don't know who's an indictment on, but I don't know. It doesn't wow me. That's all I'm saying. It's neither of these teams wowed me necessarily. I wasn't necessarily taken aback by either of these teams. I don't think, either of these teams, I don't know. I don't think either of these teams are contenders. I'll say that right now. Now, obviously, it's week 0. Things can change. Teams look one. And this is when you're going to see the biggest jump is from week 0 to week 1. I mean, that's when you see the biggest jump is from week 0 to week 1 when teams make adjustments. How do they look coming into week 1? I will be interested to see that. But I mean, look at Nicholls' offense. Deuce Hogan, 21 for 26, 221 yards, 1 touchdown. Their leading rusher, Jordan Poole, 7 carries, 23 yards. Their leading receiver, 2 receptions, 58 yards. So you talk about Incarnate Word's rushing stats, 37 rushing yards, maybe more than net rushing yards. They had about 70 rushing yards. Nicholls had 66 rushing yards. So what are we talking about? I mean, Nicholls was not necessarily like super successful in this game either. 66 rushing yards. They did lose a fumble. Solo Lewis, one of the receivers, a young receiver, had a fumble lost. Richard Torres had 2 fumbles. He didn't lose either of them. But then their Josh Lorick, I think is a running back. He might be a receiver. No, he's a receiver. Josh Lorick lost a fumble as well, and that was their 1 lost fumble, but they had 3 fumbles. They only lost 1 of them. They also had 3 interceptions. So, I mean, Incarnate Word really lost this game, and Nicholls, give credit to Nicholls' defense where credit is due. They deserve all the credit. Their defensive line was wreaking havoc. Their safeties, defensive backs were playing really, really well over the top, making those interceptions, being able to complete those plays. But Nicholls' offense did not look great yesterday, and I'm not even saying that to be like mean or anything, but Nicholls did not wow me. First downs, 15 for Incarnate Word, 14 for Nicholls. 3 for 16 on third down for Incarnate Word, 5 for 17 on third down for Nicholls. Fourth down efficiency, Nicholls did not go for it. 2 for 3 for Incarnate Word. Passing yards, 188 for Incarnate Word, 221 for Nicholls. Total yardage, 225 for Incarnate Word, 287 for Nicholls. Penalties, 9 for 55 for Incarnate Word, 9 penalties for 55. My goodness. And the reason that number's so low, and the way what you know from that being 9 for 55 is most of them were probably pre-snap 5-yard penalties like offsides or false starts. 9 for 55. Nicholls had 3 for 25, so they're clean on that standpoint. Turnovers, Incarnate Word had 4. Nicholls had 1. Time of possession, Nicholls 30 minutes of time of possession. Incarnate Word, 29 and a half minutes. They basically, and Nicholls had the ball 1 minute longer than Incarnate Word. I mean, when you look at the stats, it tells honestly the story that we saw. It was a 20-6 ball game, and Incarnate Word turned over the ball 4 times. But I don't think Nicholls was that much better than Incarnate Word. Now, obviously, it's week 0. There's going to be some mess ups, and nobody's going to look 100% clean. And Nicholls shocked the nation yesterday. Of course, yes, they got the upset victory in week 0. Yes. But like neither team looked necessarily great to me. Now, do I think the biggest point I'm trying to make is, do I think that this game says that Nicholls is the top team in the country? Absolutely not. I think this is more an indictment on Incarnate Word, and I think this more says something about the preseason polls, a reason to maybe be more scrutinized in preseason polls because we actually don't know these teams, but also, I just think Incarnate Word is not as great as people think they are. I don't think Incarnate Word is a top 10 team, but I don't think Nicholls is a top 10 team. I think both of these teams, I think Nicholls had a great day. They got Incarnate Word, their conference foe, but at the end of the day, that's what it was. Incarnate Word really shot themselves in the foot. They had big opportunities to win this game, and there were multiple opportunities, man, which I'll get into in my breakdown, but there were so many opportunities for Incarnate Word to get back into this game, man. So many opportunities. They get in the red zone, and the quarterback would just squander it away, man, and I don't want to put it all on the quarterback. He was under pressure. Offensive line wasn't blocking great. Yes. I mean, so many things you can say. Nicholls had 9 sacks for like 58 yards in the first half, man. Like, it is going to be hard to win a game with that type of, with all that at your disposal. But I do think Nicholls played. I mean, give credit to Nicholls. They got the job done. They won against a top 5 ranked opponent in week 0. They deserve credit. But we'll see what they're able to do. We'll see what they're able to do. I mean, I was very disappointed in Incarnate Word because they were given so many opportunities. I mean, the fact that Nicholls' rushing attack was not successful means that they were fairly one-dimensional offensively. They weren't really able to get things going on the ground. Their quarterback was okay. He wasn't great. He was completing passes at times, but then he would completely miss people at other times. I mean, Incarnate Word, I would say more so, and this isn't an indictment on Nicholls. I haven't. I mean, if you listen to this, you may think I'm not giving Nicholls credit. I am giving Nicholls credit. Nicholls looked good, but I think that game was more an indictment on Incarnate Word. I think Incarnate Word lost that game more than Nicholls won it. And I say that because of the 4 turnovers, because of the opportunities that Incarnate Word had to get back in the game. I mean, Nicholls did win it. They did make the plays when they had to make it. Somebody's got to make those plays. Incarnate Word obviously wasn't making those plays. They weren't able to run the ball. They weren't able to get things going. Nicholls capitalized on the opportunities when they had them. But yeah, Incarnate Word squandered this, man. I'm not going to get any more into this game. You guys let me know what you guys thought about the Incarnate Word versus Nicholls game. We will know more next week when we see these teams play. And I will be keyed into those games. I know people will be watching Incarnate Word because Incarnate Word is on fraud watch right now, man. Fraud watch. A la Brent Wahlberg of the Grizz Fan Pod. Incarnate Word is on fraud watch, man. Top 10 teams losing to unranked opponents. Can't happen. You got to get put on fraud watch. So we will see what Incarnate Word can do in week 2 and week 1. I'm excited to see what they can do. We'll see more football teams play in week 1, so there will be a lot more to talk about next week. But you guys let me know what you guys thought about Nicholls and Incarnate Word in the comment section down below, and I will move on. Okay. Along the lines of FCS scheduling news, North Dakota State will face Montana State on Labor Day weekend in 2027 in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. South Dakota State will face Montana in 2029 per Sam Herder. Doing this Las Vegas kickoff. Very, very exciting for the Missouri Valley and the Big Sky Conference. I know Eastern Washington played, I think it was UNLV actually, at Allegiant Stadium a couple of years ago. Actually, that might have been like 21 or 22, maybe when I was still in school. But a few teams have played at Allegiant Stadium. Idaho State played there yesterday. Now North Dakota State and Montana State will be playing there, as well as Montana and South Dakota State. I think this is amazing. And I don't know, they were doing a Big Sky Missouri Valley Challenge for the last like 10 years. I don't know but they've been playing a couple of Missouri Valley teams each year. And it's almost like Montana and North Dakota State and South Dakota State and Montana State like avoid, not even Montana State and South Dakota State, because Montana State and South Dakota State played, I believe, in 2022. I think they played in 2023 as well, but they've played. Montana, on the other end, is playing North Dakota, is playing Indiana State, is playing we played South Dakota in 2019, but they have not played North Dakota State yet. They played North Dakota State in 2015. That's the last time they played them in this Missouri Valley Big Sky, type challenge. And they need to play each other more. But they will be playing in 27. Montana State versus NZSU. South Dakota State versus Montana will play in 2029. Will either of these teams be in the Big Sky Conference or Missouri Valley? Will either of these teams be FCS teams when this game takes place? That is the question I think my mind immediately goes to, because there's been so much conference realignment. If there were any teams that were ever primed to be poached from the FCS to go Missouri Valley or to go G5, I think it's Montana, Montana State, South Dakota State, and North Dakota State. I don't think we're very far off from that reality. I think there's been times reading reports and reading things that people have talked about that it's been very close to happening, potentially. But, I don't think we're very far off from a world where we're talking about Montana, Montana State, North Dakota State, and South Dakota State being in a completely different conference, maybe even a completely different subdivision. So I think that's the one question that comes to a lot of people's minds when you see this game is like, will this game even be played as Big Sky versus Missouri Valley? Or will this game be played as just another FBS Week 0, Week 1 preseason game or regular season game? That is yet to be determined. But, I mean, it's very exciting. I want to see the good teams play the good teams. You want to see the top of the FCS play the top of the FCS. The top of the FCS for the last few years has been the Montanas, has been the Dakotas, the top Dakotas teams. Both Montana State and Montana have been to a natty in the last 2 years. Montana played South Dakota State. Montana State played North Dakota State. So, I mean, these are the top teams in the subdivision. These are the teams that have the talent. These are the teams that have the ability to win a national championship. These are the teams that have shown the ability to get there consistently. Maybe not even Montana. Montana State definitely has shown the ability to get there consistently. And people want to see these games, man. People want to see these games. Just like when Montana State played South Dakota State in the regular season in Week 0, Week 1 a couple of years ago. People want to see these games. I mean, these are the games you want to see. You want to see the top play the top, and you don't want it to be for a national championship all the time. Sometimes you want to see them play each other, and you want to see more games played out, and you want to see them maybe meet again. I mean, like, give the people what they want. So I like this. I'm excited about this. I think it'll be interesting to see where each team is at during that time. But the soonest we will get to see these teams play, at least Montana State and North Dakota State in the regular season, will be in 2027 and Las Vegas, and same for Montana and South Dakota State. It'll be 4 years from now in 2029. So we will see. You guys let me know what you guys think about Montana State and North Dakota State playing in 2027 and Montana and South Dakota State playing in 2029. You guys let me know in the comments down below, and I will move on. Okay, I want to talk, and this is going to be my last topic of the day, but I want to talk about FCS polls, man. I want to talk about these coaches polls, and I got a lot of information that I want to get to, and also some new information that they told that you know, just information. Hang in there with me. Portland State coach Bruce Barnum has a vote in the FCS football coaches poll. He knows that beating ranked teams helps and adjusted his preseason vote strategy accordingly. If you're on our schedule, he said, good for you. Barnum can't be alone in thinking this, says John Casano. That is crazy, man. That is crazy. I mean, first off, I got a lot to say, but here, let's another quote from Sam Herder. The first FCS playoff committee meeting will be next week. There are 7 new committee members, including an Ivy League representative. Again, this year, the committee will not use media or coaches polls for its considerations, which is good to know, because when you got coaches like Coach Bruce Barnum out here just fudging up the rankings, just fudging up the polls, because he knows I play these teams on my schedule, so we need to, I would like to play as many what Barnum is saying is beating ranked opponents is weighed more for FCS, for playoff considerations for all things. I want to rank teams accordingly, so if you're on our schedule, good for you, because I'm going to put you as a ranked team on our schedule. I don't think he's just being completely far-fetched with it. He's probably just putting the teams that like Montana, I'm gonna rank them higher. Montana State, I'm gonna rank them higher. Like the teams that, you know, logically should be ranked, he's gonna put them ranked, because if Portland State ends up beating them, it's gonna look good for them. But thank God the committee is not using the polls, the media and coaches polls for rankings, because I think it's all over the place with the polls right now. The people who are voting in the polls, I don't even know if I deserve a poll vote. Maybe I shouldn't. Who knows? But I don't know how you do the rankings. I don't know how but I think you should look at records. Obviously, they have a whole bunch of metrics, and we're going to get into what they're looking at for playoff contention. But one thing I also wanted to look at was Coach Bruce Barnum mentioned that beating ranked teams looks better in the committee's eyes. But like, Coach Bruce Barnum isn't beating ranked teams, man. He hasn't really been beating ranked teams in his career. Coach Bruce Barnum has been there for 9 seasons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I believe I'm looking at that right. 9 seasons. He's had 1 winning season at Portland State. He's had 6 ranked wins in his 9 seasons. His winning percentage is 37%. 1 winning season. And a majority of his ranked wins came in 2015 when he was 9-3. 5 ranked wins in that season, and then the most recent ranked win came in 2018, 7 years ago, when they beat Montana on the road. So 6 ranked wins in 9 seasons. You don't really need to worry about that, Coach Barnum. That's not really, like, you fudging up the rankings to put ranked teams on your schedule. You guys aren't beating ranked teams, and you showed yesterday you're not going to beat ranked teams. So I don't know why you would want to jade the ratings anyway. I mean, who cares about the coaches poll anyway? I mean, do polls even matter is the biggest question. But the reason I brought this up was because on the NCAA website, it says that the coaches poll is used in the selection committee process. But I trust Sam Herder, and I know Sam Herder has his ear to the streets. He knows what's going on. He says that the committee will not use media or coaches polls in its considerations. If that is true, then I say the NCAA needs to change its website, because it said the coaches polls were used in data, but the other things that they say they used in rankings: overall record against Division I opponents, an institution with fewer than 6 Division I wins may place them in jeopardy of not being selected, record against opponents from an AQ conference, automatic qualifying conference, record against FBS opponents, head-to-head record. So like if I'm ranking North Dakota State and South Dakota State 1 and 2. What was their head-to-head? What's their record? If they have the same record, what is their head-to-head? Who won the head-to-head matchup? North Dakota State won the head-to-head matchup. North Dakota State is our number 1 seeded team. Record against common opponents. So North Dakota State, South Dakota State. Let's use that example. Both play South Dakota. North Dakota State lost to South Dakota last year. South Dakota State beat South Dakota last year, but North Dakota State beat South Dakota State last year. So I mean, it gets convoluted. So you got to take a lot of the things into consideration. North Dakota State ultimately beat South Dakota State. I think that's what won. So head to head is probably weighted heavier than what is weighted against record against common opponents. NCAA simple rating system, NCAA SRS data. It says FCS coaches poll, and then it says input from regional advisory committees. So save for the FCS coaches poll, all of this is used in the selection committee. And it makes me think, in previous years, were we looking at the right rankings, or were teams just ranking teams based on who they were going to play? I mean, we may never know, but that is concerning, man, because I mean, how many people do you think are doing this? How many people do you think are doing this? And it made me think, not even it made me think, but Sam Herder actually posted this video of Steve Sarkisian talking about coaches poll rankings after here. Sorry, I played the video. Sam Herder actually posted this video of Steve Sarkisian talking about coaches poll rankings, and I want to play it, and we'll give our thoughts afterward. But it's pretty interesting to look at and pretty interesting to think about what other coaches think about the coaches poll and how they view the coaches poll. So let's watch it, and then we can get into it afterward.
It just takes time. Yeah. And honestly, to be fair, I don't know. Like, how am I supposed to know? Like, I don't have time on Saturday to watch. Right. Who am I to say that team's better than that team? Shoot, I'm in the hotel getting ready to play. We play, then I got to come visit with you guys for however long, and then I got to go see recruits, and then I want to see my family, and then I want to watch the tape of our game, and all the while there might be Sports Center or something. Oh, that was a cool touchdown they just ran. Like, I don't know. And to be fair, I don't know how I could know. And so and the polls were awesome. If it were the old model, I would have taken the time and I would be a voter. But we're in a whole different era. Sure. It's a whole different game. Like the playoff, the coaches poll, I don't know what that means, quite frankly. What it means is, man, you better try to be one of the top 12 teams when the committee votes. Right. Now, if they're looking at the coaches poll, shame on them, right? They got to look at the tape and figure out who the best teams are. Right.
Very well said by Steve Sarkisian right there. If it was the old model, it would have mattered. Like I think he's talking about the BCS model. If it was that model, as it previously used to be, if the computers were choosing, then yes, the coaches poll would hold more weight. But in the model that they do today, I mean, you don't really need coaches polls in order to. I mean, the committee's got the final say. The committee's going to make the selection. The committee is who you should be getting in the good graces of. The polls don't matter, and I think at the FCS level, it's the same way. I mean, these polls don't really hold any weight. Per Sam Herder, they're not using the polls for playoff selection. So, I mean, I originally put this on here because Bruce Barnum was saying that he tried to mess the rankings up based on who they were going to play. Meaning that, but they don't beat ranked teams anyway. So I was like, I was confused. But the FCS coaches poll is not, but on that same line of thinking, given that these polls aren't even used for playoff consideration, what is the meaning of these polls? Because if you want to, I wanted to add to this topic because of what we saw yesterday with Incarnate Word and Nicholls. Incarnate Word has been talked about as maybe a fringe contender for the national championship, maybe a team that can threaten for a natty against maybe a North Dakota State, a South Dakota State, maybe a Montana State. I mean, they've been talked about it as a team who's maybe right there on the verge of getting there. They did not look like a team on the verge of getting there yesterday. And all the polls, the preseason media polls, had them as a top-rated team in the country. I think this gives more weight to the fact that maybe the polls shouldn't necessarily be a thing, man. Maybe the preseason polls shouldn't be a thing. Like, maybe we shouldn't be ranking maybe we shouldn't necessarily be ranking these teams before the season. Now, obviously, the rankings matter for TV. Fans love to see the rankings. I mean, there is value in these rankings. But I don't know if we necessarily should be ranking these teams. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. But the preseason polls rarely get it right, if ever. I mean, it seems like there's always a few teams in the preseason polls where it's like, might have missed on that one. But we have absolutely no idea. That's the other thing about it is like you have absolutely no idea. Sam Herder said this on, well, first off, Dustin Helton, the Rev, said, this game is why preseason polls need to end. Sam Herder commented and said, the easy solution is for voters to just completely redo their ballots every week. I agree, especially early in the season where a huge movement is okay. Preseason rankings help build early matchups, are fun for fans to see, and can help schools sell tickets. 100%. 100%. Like, Nicholls probably sold more tickets during that game knowing that they were going to play the number 4, number 5 ranked team in the country based on whatever poll you're looking at. I mean, it's true. Fans care about these rankings. They help build early matchups. You got Nicholls versus, next week we got Sac State number 15 in the preseason poll versus South Dakota State number 3 in the preseason poll. That is because of preseason polls. No other reason that we get to build that game as a top 15 matchup other than the preseason polls. So they do hold value. But I don't know. We don't know these teams, man. It's so hard. And I kept saying this in the weeks leading up to the season is like, I can say all this talk, but take everything I say with a grain of salt because I have absolutely no idea. You don't know what these teams are going to look like. Football is such an interesting game. You need so many things to be in line to be a really, really good football team, and you just don't know enough. At the FCS level right now, there is so much movement on so many of these teams, and a lot of this stuff is public, but it's so hard to keep up. Shaden James, a lot of people didn't even know that Richie Munoz, the former quarterback at Weber State, was at Incarnate Word until it was announced that Tennessee, there was tweets Sam Herder talked about in the offseason, and there was a couple other people talking about when Richie Munoz left Incarnate Word to go to Tennessee Tech. But a lot of people didn't even know he was there at Tennessee Tech. And a lot of people found out yesterday when Kakoa Visperis was announced as the starting quarterback that, he beat out Richie Munoz. Wait, when did Richie Munoz get to Tennessee Tech? I thought he was at Incarnate Word. Exactly. That is what we're talking about. Shaden James left Fresno State, went to Incarnate Word. I had absolutely no idea he was at Incarnate Word. I might have seen something throughout the course of the offseason. Maybe I just didn't talk about it. But I had no idea he was at Incarnate Word until they said, that's Shaden James on the reception. I was like, what? Shaden James is at Incarnate Word? So that's why it's so hard to do these preseason polls. You have no idea what these teams look like. You have absolutely no idea what these teams look like. So I wouldn't say you necessarily need to do away with the preseason polls, but I don't know. I think you definitely need to take them with a grain of salt. I'm certainly going to, every time I do a preseason poll, every time I talk about the preseason, I'm going to say, take this with a grain of salt because we have absolutely no idea. I have no idea. I don't know what they're going to look like. I can only speculate. I know what talent they had last year. I know what they were last year. I know what they did last year. I know what this coach's is. I know what this coach's ability is. I know what this D-line's ability is. I think some of the only teams that you can project like that currently are the Dakotas. And I don't even think if you can do that to South Dakota State. We have no idea what South Dakota State is going to look like. We have absolutely no idea what South Dakota State is going to look like. We know what the culture there is. Same with North Dakota State. We know what the culture there is. I think you can assume that North Dakota State is going to be good. I think you can assume that South Dakota State is going to be good because of the culture that they've set. I think you can assume that Montana State is going to be good because of the culture that's been building under Brent Vigen. South Dakota, we have no idea. They got a new head coach. They lost a couple linemen. They have their quarterback back, and a lot of people expect them to be a top team, but we have absolutely no idea. So with the preseason polls, it has to be taken with a grain of salt because we just don't know. We're not going to know until week 1, week 2, week 0, whatever it is. Get a couple games in the season. That's when we start to know who these teams are, who the top teams in the nation. I was talking about it earlier. I looked at Nicholls beat Incarnate Word yesterday, and I was absolutely not impressed with Nicholls. I was impressed with their defense. Their defense played very, very good. But in terms of Nicholls being a national contender, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Their offense was barely able to move the ball against Incarnate Word. And Incarnate Word, maybe the Incarnate Word has a really good defense, but Nicholls did not look great, man. And I'm not going to get into that. Go back to that segment when I talked about them. But Incarnate Word didn't look like a national contender, and Nicholls did not look like a national contender. They beat Incarnate Word, but is that more an indictment on Incarnate Word or an indictment? I don't know. Take preseason polls with a grain of salt. I don't think preseason polls need to be finished because they bring a lot of value in terms of fans, in terms of building up preseason matchups. Everything Sam Herder said about preseason rankings and preseason polls is 100% correct. They build early matchups. It's good for fans to see. They help schools sell tickets. They do all of that stuff. But in terms of finding real analysis and real value in, Incarnate Word was ranked 5th in the country, that means they're going to be really good this year. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It gives us no idea of how good these teams are going to be. And I don't know if there's anything you can do in the preseason to be able to gauge how good a team is going to be. The only thing you can do is look at the talent they had and look at some of the weapons they brought in and say, okay, they should be able to beat said team. They should be able to do this, but you don't know until you see them roll the ball out. And I guess that relates to Culture Nuanez's topic of Skyline Sports, ESPN Radio. Culture Nuanez is always talking about with me because I've been very high on Sac State this offseason. He has continuously told me that yes, they have talent. Yes, they brought in pieces. Yes, they brought in a head coach who's interesting, but it's first-time head coach, something to be noted. But you don't know until these teams roll the ball out there. Are they going to be able to gel? Are they going to be able to play together? Are they going to be able to do the things they need to do to be able to turn themselves into a top Big Sky opponent? We don't know. So we will see how things turn out going forward. Obviously, week 0 is gone. Very exciting week 0. You guys let me know what you guys think about the preseason polls. Do you guys think most of them, I mean, we don't know. And maybe I should wait to ask this question after week 1 where you see all the teams and be able to judge what does the preseason poll tell you now. I mean, we will see, but you guys let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Okay, that is going to conclude my video this week. I want to thank you guys for tapping into the channel this week so much. Thank you guys for listening to me talk and ramble about some of these football teams. Thank you for allowing me to do what I do on my channel. I appreciate you guys a ton. We got some game breakdowns coming. Obviously, this is going to be dropping on Monday, so at this point, the game breakdowns would have already dropped. Well, maybe the game breakdowns wouldn't have dropped, but I am dropping game breakdowns this week. I got Incarnate Word versus Nicholls coming. I also have Idaho State versus UNLV coming. I don't know if I'll be able to get a UC Davis Mercer breakdown, but that is the number one breakdown I would like to do is UC Davis versus Mercer. But there's no game highlights because that game ended in no contest. There's no game stats from that game. I mean, it's like they want to act like that game never existed. You can't find anything about that game currently online. At least I can. I'm sure people probably got the stats, but I can't see it. I didn't even talk about Portland State and Tarleton State. I completely glossed over that. Portland State and Tarleton State, it was a blowout. Portland State lost 42-0. The quarterbacks threw a ton of interceptions. They didn't look clean at all. If you want me to get into the stats, I had them pulled up, and I actually just forgot to get to it. But 2 interceptions by their starting quarterback, Gabe Downing. Another interception by their backup quarterback, Sagapolu Tele. They had 1 fumble lost by a receiver, I believe, Andre Miller. Might have been a returner, but they had a fumble lost as well. Portland State did not look good. They did not look good. I was expecting them to look decent. Brandon Alvarez looked good. Their number 1 receiver looked really good. The running game, they had 100 yards. They just didn't look good. They gave up 170 from Trey Page, who's a young running back. I think he's a freshman. He had 115 carries, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, you guys can go look at the stats. Portland State did not look good. Sorry for not getting into that game. I don't know if anybody wanted to hear me talk about that game, but they didn't look good. That's what it is. Thank you guys for tapping into the channel. Please be on the lookout for Nicholls Incarnate Word breakdowns at Idaho State versus UNLV breakdown. If I can get UC Davis Mercer, I will be getting into that breakdown. Come see us at the pregame show in week 2 of the regular season at the Montana tailgate. It's going to be a very exciting season this year. I'm very, very excited to be a part of the media. Once again, man, another year in the media. I'm growing. The channel's growing. I feel like my analysis is growing as well. So leave me a comment on what you guys thought of week 0. What were you guys' biggest thoughts of week 0? What are you guys' biggest disappointments in week 0? You guys let me know in the comments, and I will catch you guys next week. See you later.